I had to put a lot of thought into this next video that I'm about to do. It's hard for me to even think about the captivity that our ancestors had to live through and the captivity that we're in now. And it always takes me back to the scriptures where it says, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." Matthew 24, verse 35. This earth must pass away because it is too corrupt. And the people on this planet are not redeemable. I don't care if we sat here for another 1,000 years. The same people that have a long-standing reputation of hating us will hate us 1,000 years from now. They cannot be saved. They can't be redeemed. Swirling is not going to save them. Laying around having children is not going to save them. They cannot be redeemed, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care if you think it's okay to be with them and lay with them and marry them. I'm telling you, no matter what you do, they are not going to be redeemable. They have to cease to exist. That's the only way the earth and the people left on this planet will be able to move forward. What you got to understand, when they die out, evil will die out right along with them. Period. Right now, slave trade is going on in Libya. Had Muammar Gaddafi survived, this would never, ever, ever have happened in his country. Muammar Gaddafi is someone that tried to even help the African Americans. He wanted to give us reparations, but it was the US government that blocked it. He also wanted to arm us so that we could fight back and win our freedom. Muammar Gaddafi was not killing his own people, like the American media said. The media is only there to demonize people on this earth that are fighting against white supremacy. That is the only time these people literally band together to come after one of us, is because we are speaking out against their evil. The thought of our people going through slavery, it makes my stomach turn. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, these people are our family, whether you think people over in Africa are or not. Yes, we are Shem. The people that are Hebrew, we are Shem. The people in Africa are Ham. Some of them are Ham, some of them are Shem. Remember, they didn't take everybody into slavery. Many of our people were left over in the motherland. We didn't all come over. Some did, some did not. Some of our people were already here. Many were already here in North America. But Ham is our cousin. That's our cousin. Many of the migrants that they are literally kidnapping and enslaving are coming from West Africa. Many of them are Nigeria. And I'm going to show you a map of these Africans that are being captured in Libya. What they are doing is they're trying to get on boats to head towards Europe, but they are being intercepted in Libya and taken and sold on the slave market over there. And, just like we're hearing all of this, I'm sure many of these people that are traveling through Libya had no idea this was going on, which tells me, being that so many of them are being captured, is telling me that this is not even being spoken about in Africa at all. All right, let's get into this story. It came out on BBC News, November 18th, 2017, and I will leave the link to this article in the description box. Libya migrant slave market footage sparks outrage. And some of you may have seen other videos of the actual footage of these Africans from all over the country, mainly from Western nations, being sold. The African Union has expressed outrage after footage emerged appearing to show sub-Saharan migrants being sold at slave markets in Libya. On the video released by CNN this week, young men are seen being auctioned off as farm workers. They're going to be abused, they're going to be raped, and they're going to be killed. Okay, the AU chairman, President Alpha Conde of Guinea, demanded prosecutions over the despicable trade from another era. Migrants trying to reach Europe have spoken of being held by smugglers and forced to work for little or no money. The footage released by CNN appears to show youth from Niger and other sub-Saharan African countries being sold to buyers for about $400, which is 300 pounds, at undisclosed locations in Libya. These modern slavery practices must end, and the African Union will use all the tools at its disposal, Mr. Conde said. Libya has opened an investigation into the practice, CNN reported on Friday. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the fault of many European nations and especially the US. Muammar Gaddafi, when he was alive, had probably one of the most stable countries over in Africa. His country was doing exceptionally well when you compared it to many of the other African nations. They weren't having all the problems, and they did not hate him being their leader. That was just American propaganda. Nobody in Libya was complaining. The American government and the American media was complaining. Whenever they're complaining about a brown or black country, that's a country that won't bow down to them. Just always know where they're going with the propaganda. That way you don't get caught up into believing everything that they're saying. Thousands of migrants each year try to reach Europe by crossing the Mediterranean. And they load in those boats by the hundreds to try to get over in Europe. And, many of these people, they can't find jobs. And they're just looking for a better way of life. So they're fleeing those countries that they come from. In April, the International Organization for Migration said it had gathered evidence of slavery in Libya. African migrants sold in slave markets. The IOM's chief of mission for Libya told BBC at the time that migrants were priced according to their abilities. Apparently, they don't have money and their families cannot pay the ransom. Unbelievable. So they are being sold to get at least a minimum benefit from that, he said. The price is definitely different depending on your qualifications. For example, if you can do painting or tiles or some specialized work, then the price gets higher. And these are the Arabs doing this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that are over there in Libya. See, when America destabilized that country by killing Muammar Gaddafi, and the country has not been the same since. Libyans were living probably better than most Americans. Do you know they had free electricity, free internet? He gave them $2,000 to go towards buying their first car once a Libyan got their driver's license. There were no homeless people in Libya. Do you know if you had nowhere to go, the government over in Libya made sure you at least got an apartment? You were not left on the streets to fend for yourself. This man took good care of his people. Go to any given city in America, I promise you, you're going to see homeless people all over the place. America don't give a damn about its poor citizens. Never have and never will. But Muammar Gaddafi did give a shit about his citizens. They were well taken care of. They weren't even paying for many things that Americans over here are struggling to pay for. All right. Central Mediterranean migrant routes. So you can see on this map the routes people are taken to go into Libya. And all they're trying to do is get to this area right here where there are boats so that they can make it over into Europe. This is why they're getting caught in Libya. And like I said, you see Nigeria, there's a lot of Nigerians I had read that are going into the country. But these are the nations that you see: Egypt, Sudan, Somalia, Nigeria, Mali, Guinea, Senegal, and Ivory Coast. These are the big countries where the migration is taking place through Libya, and they have no idea until they get literally kidnapped when they get into the country, just to cross through the country to get to where the sea is so that they can catch a boat and get into Europe. That's why they're getting caught. But on this map where you see the dark green and the lighter green, these are the countries that are passing through. This is a disgrace. And it shouldn't be happening. And Africa really need to step up their game and do more to go into Libya and capture the people that are doing this. They by no means should be allowed to get away with this. But one more scripture, and I'm going to end this video. Revelation 13, 9 through 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Okay, that means if you have any understanding of the word from the Most High, then you will be able to understand the scripture. He will put the Spirit on you where you will understand it. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And what is the sword, ladies and gentlemen? The sword is the modern day gun. That's the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, and those saints are us. The Most High is going to return the favor on all of these people that have held us and our ancestors captive, because we're captive too, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you're not at liberty. If we all packed up overnight and left by the millions, this government would do something to shut it down. You are in captivity. But what he's saying in these scriptures is, don't worry about these folks. Everybody that held you in captivity, I'm going to hold them in captivity. They're going into captivity. And they're going to be killed just like they killed you. This world must go. It must go. No one should be upset about that. We can't move forward with all this corruption. We are going into many different dimensions and going into a whole different time. These folks that we're looking at are primitive. They are not suitable for the world to come. The only thing they will be at liberty to do when the new Jerusalem comes is to be in captivity. No deed will ever go unpunished, ladies and gentlemen. It won't go unpunished. It may appear on the surface that it is, but trust me, it's not going unpunished. Over these next 2 years, it's about to get ugly up in here for many of these people, these Arabs, these Edomites, all of them that have done evil to us. And you're about to see it come back tenfold on them. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Peace, family.